It's been obviously fantastic, and she's been a little joy of heaven, but at the same time it is a more responsibility looking after two little ones, especially when George is around. He's a little monkey.
The British monarchy has weathered countless storms. Affairs, betrayals, scandals splashed across tabloids. But never has the crown been shaken by something so small, so intimate, and yet so explosive. Not whispers in Parliament, not a leaked memo. No, this firestorm began with a single child's tears. On a warm afternoon in Windsor, what was meant to be a private royal gathering spiraled into the most personal showdown the family has faced in years. Behind manicured hedges and picnic blankets, tensions that had simmered quietly for decades finally boiled over. It wasn't a political crisis. It wasn't a constitutional debate. It was far more raw. This was bloodline against marriage, tradition against ambition, and most shockingly, a child against a child. At the center of it all, Princess Charlotte, beloved daughter of William and Kate, and the future heartbeat of the monarchy. According to insiders, she became the unexpected target of Camilla's granddaughter, whose words weren't playful jabs but sharp, cutting remarks designed to wound. Within minutes, Charlotte was seen sobbing in her mother's arms. And in that moment, one father made a decision that would shake the foundations of the House of Windsor. Prince William, the heir to the throne, stripped Camilla's granddaughter of her royal privileges. A move so bold, so unprecedented, that it instantly redrew the lines of royal power. What began as children's banter had exploded into a generational reckoning. The question now, was this the start of a new monarchy, or the end of Camilla's fragile legacy? It should have been a perfect summer day. The kind of quiet retreat where the royals could finally breathe without flashing cameras or endless protocol. Windsor Castle's private gardens were alive with color, roses in bloom, the scent of fresh-cut grass drifting through the air, and children's laughter echoing across the lawns. King Charles himself had arranged the gathering, insisting it would be family only. No robes, no speeches, no press. Just picnic blankets, croquet sets, and pitchers of elderflower spritz passed around by smiling footmen. But inside those hedges, appearances deceived. Old rivalries never die in the House of Windsor, and beneath the polished smiles, long-buried tensions smoldered. William and Kate's children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, played freely near the flower beds under their mother's careful watch. To outsiders, it was a picture of innocence. Yet nearby stood Camilla's granddaughters, girls who had gradually been ushered into royal spaces since their grandmother's controversial rise as queen consort. They weren't royals by law or blood, but Camilla had insisted on giving them a seat at the table, from public ceremonies to the historic coronation itself. Some whispered it was her way of cementing her legacy. Others believed it was a bid to elevate her family into a world they had never belonged to. And so, on that summer afternoon, the stage was set. The next generation of Windsors played side by side, laughter mingling with side glances. A calm scene to the untrained eye, but in reality, it was a powder keg waiting for a single spark. What came next would turn a playful gathering into one of the most humiliating scandals the monarchy had seen in decades. At first, the children's chatter was harmless. Charlotte, now 9 years old, carried herself with the same confidence and poise that had made her a favorite in the public eye. With her quick wit and unmistakable resemblance to her late grandmother, Princess Diana, she stood out even in casual conversation. But what began as playful banter soon took a darker turn. According to witnesses, one of Camilla's granddaughters, believed to be Eliza Lopez, shifted from jokes to barbed remarks. She mocked the way Charlotte curtsied to an elder, sneered at her simple dress, and then delivered the cruelest line of all. "Your mummy is only pretending to be queen. Mine is the real one." The words cut deep. This wasn't teasing. This was calculated. Palace staff later described it as mean-spirited, the kind of comment designed not to amuse but to humiliate. Charlotte's face fell, her composure shattered. Moments later, she was seen running into Kate's arms, cheeks flushed red, tears streaming down her face. Kate, usually the image of restraint, looked shaken. She bent low, holding her daughter tightly, whispering comfort while her eyes flashed with fury. For years, she had shielded her children from palace politics, insisting they deserved normal childhoods. Yet here, in what was supposed to be a safe space, her daughter had been reduced to tears. William noticed immediately. Conversations halted. Guests shifted uncomfortably. Even the laughter of moments before seemed to vanish into the heavy silence that fell over the garden. Everyone knew this wasn't a squabble to brush aside. This was a line crossed, and the heir to the throne had just witnessed his daughter's dignity torn apart. And William's response would not be the silence of past generations. Catherine, Princess of Wales, had always been admired for her composure. Graceful, measured, never letting raw emotions spill into the public eye. But in that moment, as Charlotte buried her tear-streaked face into her mother's shoulder, something shifted inside her. The serene royal consort gave way to something far fiercer, a mother who would not tolerate her child being humiliated. Witnesses recall the transformation vividly. Kate's posture stiffened, her voice dropped to a chilling calm, and her usually warm smile vanished. She gathered Charlotte close and led her away from the group with quiet authority. The message was clear. Enough was enough. Behind the scenes, aides whispered of a tense private exchange. Kate, still holding Charlotte's hand, approached Camilla directly. The Queen consort reportedly tried to dismiss the insult as children being children, even laughing lightly in a tone some described as condescending. But Kate did not flinch. Her reply was cold, precise, and delivered with an edge few had ever seen. "This isn't play," she allegedly told Camilla. "This is about respect, and it will not be ignored." The air in the garden thickened. Camilla, caught off guard, brushed it aside. But Kate's icy glare made it clear this wasn't an idle warning. For years she had endured subtle digs and whispers about her family. But now the target was her daughter. That was unforgivable. Even Princess Anne, usually silent in family matters, quietly sided with Kate afterward. "You protect your children no matter their titles," she was overheard saying. From that moment on, there was no going back. Kate had drawn a line in the sand, and William was about to reinforce it with a decision that would shock the monarchy. For Prince William, patience had always been his armor. He was diplomatic when others lashed out, measured when others overstepped, and always careful to keep the monarchy steady. But when it came to his children, there was no negotiation. The sight of Charlotte in tears was enough to shatter years of restraint. The very next morning, while whispers of the garden scandal spread through staff corridors, William called a private meeting inside Kensington Palace. No cameras, no ceremony, just the heir to the throne and his most trusted advisors. Those in the room later described his tone as controlled but unshakably firm, the kind of authority that left no room for argument. He laid out the details of the insult to Charlotte, but he didn't stop there. He recounted a pattern of behavior: subtle digs, passive-aggressive remarks from Camilla's grandchildren, and the creeping sense that they were being treated as if they held royal authority when in truth, they had none. It was, he said, an abuse of privilege. Then came the order. Effective immediately, Camilla's granddaughter, identified by insiders as Eliza Lopez, was to be stripped of all honorary recognition within the royal household. No more invitations to official ceremonies, no access to palace residences, her name removed from guest lists and staff protocols. The room reportedly fell silent. This wasn't a minor punishment, it was unprecedented. William declared, "Royalty is earned through service and duty, not borrowed through marriage, and certainly not through entitlement. No one insults my daughter and remains tied to this institution." The decision was final. With one command, William not only defended Charlotte, but redrew the boundaries of royal privilege. A quiet gathering had ignited a revolution inside the monarchy. The palace tried at first to smother the story. Staff were instructed to keep details under lock and key, whispers were silenced, and official schedules carried on as if nothing had happened. But the royal press corps knows when blood is in the water. Within 48 hours, the truth leaked, and headlines blazed across the tabloids. William strips Camilla's granddaughter of royal privileges. Future king draws line in the sand. Charlotte protected, Camilla's family cut off. The narrative was no longer confined to palace walls. It had become public property, and the reaction was immediate. Social media erupted in applause. Comments flooded timelines with praise for William's firmness. Good on him, any father would do the same. Charlotte deserves respect. William showed strength. Even commentators who usually shied away from internal royal disputes admitted the move was bold, necessary, and overdue. In the tabloids, photos of Charlotte holding Kate's hand were paired with images of William at official engagements, his jaw set, his eyes fixed forward. He looked every bit the protector, the future king willing to defend his daughter no matter the cost. Behind palace gates, however, tension thickened. Camilla was reportedly livid. Charles refused to intervene, and aides scrambled to manage the fallout. What had started as a family squabble had become a seismic shift in royal politics. For the first time in decades, the public wasn't questioning William's judgment. They were rallying behind it. And that surge of support would make the storm impossible for Camilla to contain. If William had expected quiet compliance, he underestimated the Queen Consort's temper. Insiders say Camilla was incandescent with rage the moment she learned of William's decree. To her, this wasn't just a disciplinary action against a child. It was a direct assault on her bloodline, and by extension, her own authority. At Clarence House, the mood turned volcanic. Staff described the Queen Consort pacing furiously, demanding answers, her voice echoing down the corridors. She accused aides of betrayal, Charles of cowardice, and Kate of orchestrating the entire debacle. One witness said it was like watching someone realize their influence had evaporated in real time. Camilla reportedly stormed to Charles, insisting he issue a public statement overturning William's decision. But the king, cautious as ever, refused. "It's done," he allegedly told her. "Interfering will only make it worse." For Camilla, the words cut deep. After decades of fighting for legitimacy, to be left defenseless by the man who once risked everything for her was the ultimate humiliation. Her fury quickly shifted to Kate. In private, Camilla was overheard seething. "That girl smiles in public, but it's knives in private. She'll take down anyone who threatens her place." It was the rekindling of an old rivalry, the battle of the scandal survivor versus the people's princess-in-waiting. But Camilla's anger did little to change the optics. Her allies in the press fell silent. Palace staff quietly requested transfers to Kensington. Even long-standing supporters saw the writing on the wall. William and Kate were ascendant, and Camilla's grip was slipping fast. For the first time in her royal life, Camilla wasn't pulling strings. She was the one being cut loose. If Camilla thought the uproar would fade, she was sorely mistaken. The British public, often divided on royal dramas, found rare unity in their outrage. For them, this wasn't about protocol or palace hierarchies. It was about a child, and the future of the monarchy. Within hours of the story breaking, hashtags like #ProtectCharlotte, #TeamCharlotte, and even #EntitlementExposed trended across X and TikTok. Viral clips compared Charlotte's poise at public events to Camilla's grandchildren, painting the latter as entitled interlopers. One viral post read, "Charlotte has Diana's grace. Who does Camilla's granddaughter think she is?" The sentiment spread like wildfire. Comment sections became battlegrounds. Parents, in particular, chimed in with fury. "If my child was bullied, I'd do the same thing William did," one mother wrote. Even staunch monarchists, those who had cautiously accepted Camilla's role as queen consort, began to question whether her family had any place in royal life at all. Polls confirmed the shift. A Snap survey revealed that 83% supported William's decision to revoke privileges, while nearly 70% wanted the monarchy restricted to direct bloodlines only. For Camilla, it was a nightmare. Her carefully managed image, decades in the making, unraveled in a matter of days. Meanwhile, Kate stayed silent, and that silence spoke louder than words. She simply carried on with her duties, visiting children's hospices, greeting mothers, championing mental health. Cameras caught her comforting Charlotte at a public event, her hand resting protectively on her daughter's shoulder. No speeches, no rebuttals, just quiet strength. And it worked. Kate became the unspoken hero of the crisis, while Camilla's name became synonymous with arrogance and overreach. The public had chosen their side, and it wasn't hers. What began as a playground insult had morphed into something far larger, a referendum on the future of the monarchy itself. William's decisive move wasn't just about protecting Charlotte. It was about redefining the rules of belonging inside the royal family. For generations, the monarchy had quietly tolerated blurred lines, allowing those close by marriage to bask in the glow of royal privilege. But William drew a sharp boundary. Bloodline, service, and duty. These were the only currencies of the crown. And in doing so, he sent an unmistakable message. Entitlement, no matter how well dressed, had no place in the House of Windsor. The ripple effects were immediate. Public trust in William and Kate surged, their popularity soaring as they were seen not just as future monarchs, but as parents who put family above politics. Their strength highlighted the very weakness of Charles's reign: hesitation, compromise, silence. For Camilla, the fallout was devastating. The decades-long effort to normalize her presence and elevate her family had crumbled in a single afternoon. What once seemed like a steady integration of her bloodline into royal life was exposed as a fragile illusion, one the public no longer accepted. And at the center of it all stood Princess Charlotte, a 9-year-old girl who, without speaking a word, had become a symbol of resilience and the face of the monarchy's future. The message was clear: this wasn't Camilla's era anymore. The crown was already shifting toward William, Kate, and their children, and this scandal had only accelerated the transition. In the end, William's message rang louder than any palace statement. No one bullies his daughter and walks away with royal privilege. What started as a cruel remark became a turning point, one that exposed Camilla's fragile influence and cemented Charlotte as a symbol of the monarchy's future. Kate's calm strength, William's decisive action, and the public's overwhelming support marked a clear shift inside the House of Windsor. So what do you think? Was William right to draw the line? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more royal truth bombs.